Manic Monday, everybody. We are back. Moving the chains. Sammy the Man McIntyre. It has got me feeling nicey. Woo! Let's go. That game last night. Holy Jesus. That was one of the best football games I have ever seen in my lifetime. I've been watching football for 18 years. That was one of the all-timers. Even Chris Collinsworth, who's a football addict, was like, whoa. It was just awesome. Let me start out with that game. So the Baltimore Ravens, Max Lawson, I feel bad for you, brother. I know I saw you late as I'm leaving the gym tonight. Here we go again. It felt like that again last night. The Ravens, listen, they are one of the best teams in football. And I think they're well run. I have a ton of respect for them. Even Todd Openson's the owner of Culture Gym, which, by the way, I just got to give a shout out. So glad I joined. It's phenomenal. You guys do a killer job. He's a Bills fan. He admitted, he's like, dude, they're well run. And Baltimore has been for my whole life. They've been. They're kind of like Green Bay a little bit, like Pittsburgh, kind of like Kansas City now. They have their bumps, but it's not for long. But the Ravens got to win a Super Bowl. Like, as we can keep talking about this team over and over and over, how talented they are, and they are talented. I mean, I look at them, I go, whoa. But they just don't get it done when it matters. And so I'm keep waiting. And last night, I thought they were going to blow the doors off the Bills. When it was 40-25, I went, okay, Baltimore's going to close this game out. Derrick Henry, the big sledgehammer, and they're going to close this game out. Buffalo's going to lose in Buffalo's house. And I picked the Bills to win that game, and my pick was kind of teetering. But last night, man, the Derrick Henry fumble happened, and it happens. This is football. Crazy shit happens. You know, upsets happen. Teams that aren't supposed to win. Teams that are really favored lose all the time. I've seen it happen. But last night, to me, was more about the Ravens' collapse than the Bills. And I'll touch on the Bills in a second. So the Ravens, to me, like, look, this is one game. I'm not jumping the gun, okay? Baltimore is still going to win the division to me. But that's alarming. And I saw a stat today. 17 double-digit blown leads with John Harbaugh. Like, a little scary to me. And I'm going back through, and NFL Memes had something today where it was all like these leads they've had. 35-14 against Miami. 3 years ago. I was living at my old apartment. And it was 35-14 Ravens going into the fourth quarter. And Miami goes on this furious comeback. It was the first year Tyreek Hill and Tua. We all saw how that relationship's gone. He's a shitbird. He's had more babies than touchdowns. Just saying. But, excuse me. But, man, the Ravens, man, it's sad because I look at them and I go, they should win a Super Bowl. But I was going back, I was trying to get back on my train of thought here. So they had that lead against the Giants. They had a lead against the Jags. I remember that game. And they just blown it. And so here's my thing with the Ravens. I think that is really alarming. I think the reason they have not closed out games, and I was thinking about this today as I'm working out, and I had Max Lawson on my head because he's the biggest Ravens fan I know, is they need war daddies back there. They need enforcers. They need the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds, the Terrell Suggs to close games out. They need closers. Like the Packers just got with Micah Parsons. They need that in Baltimore. They have not had that since Terrell Suggs. They've kind of patchwork guys. You know, listen, they draft extremely well. I'm not Eric DeCosta, Ozzie Newsome. They've done that really well. But they're not hitting on those pass rushers. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but they have not hit on them. And so that's, I think, the reason why I think the Ravens, when I hear deja vu, same shit, different day, you know, blowing leads, I think that's why. I think their pass rush, they just can't get there quick enough. And I think that's going to hurt them in the long run if they ever want to win a Super Bowl with this crew. Because it's got the chance. This team is as loaded as anybody. And it's like different. You watch a game with the Ravens, and on my jaw, I look up and I go, there's talent everywhere on this field. You know, Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Bateman's a stud. Their offensive line's elite. Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, the center. They're athletic. They get out in front on that Zay Flowers screen last night. You saw the athleticism from these big ass offensive linemen. but it just, for some reason, they just can't get it in. And maybe the Chiefs are in their head. I don't know. I feel like that's more a Bills thing than the Ravens. But it's a shame that happened last night. That was such a fun game to watch. It had me reminiscing last night. So sometimes when I get done, I always do 20 minutes of cardio at the end of my workout. And sometimes the NFL throwback games on, right? And that game had very reminiscent. I didn't watch football in 2000. But it was the greatest show on turf, and they played the Broncos. This is like after they won their Super Bowl, right? It was in the old Everett Jones Dome, which, by the way, my dad's been at. It's a dump. And the Rams, listen, they're better off in L.A. than St. Louis. But I will say that had a very pinball-like machine game to me. And I just love watching both those quarterbacks. The NFL's in good hands. I mean, with these quarterbacks. I mean, the six this year or 2 years ago, Caleb and JJ, if they hit. Bo Nix has hit. I mean, it's the first year. Jaden Daniels looks like a superstar. I mean, there's just, the league is full of Michael Penix. I'll get to him in a little bit with the Buccaneers. Baker against Michael Penix. But, man, it was just so much fun to watch last night. Lamar, Josh Allen, two guys that are just awesome players. Different styles of quarterback. Excuse me. But I was just impressed. And so, let me touch on the Bills. So, the Bills last night, to me, still get disappointed. And I'm really... I just don't know what to do with Buffalo, because at some point you're like the Ravens. You got to knock the door down. And listen, I don't doubt Sean McDermott is a really good coach, and he is. And I listen, from what he inherited in Buffalo to now has been awesome. And him and Brandon Beane deserve a lot of credit, the general manager. And they built this roster pretty good. But, man, it just feels like a lot more times than not, I'm watching Josh Allen put Superman cape on way more than I need to. And there were times last year where I went, well, they're changing. They're adapting. They're running the ball more. Hey, Josh, make a couple plays here and there. Don't be Superman. Don't put the cape on. And then last night, same old shit again. Put the cape on, Josh. We need you to ball out. No. That's not going to win. And with the Bills, they're a small fucking defense. I feel like I was watching a Peyton Manning-led defense last night. Small, undersized. They felt like a dome team last night, and they're playing out in Buffalo. The thought of this just baffles me. So, again, the difference between these two teams to me, Baltimore has the better roster and just more talent. The Bills have a superstar talent quarterback. Like, that's not even disputable. And I'm not saying Lamar isn't, but Josh is on a different tier. And you don't find humans super freaks like this. Okay? You don't. Now, we can pick at him and say you got to win the big games. But unlike Lamar, who kind of shits the bed in the playoffs, Josh Allen has played well enough in the playoffs to win these games. I think the Bills just let him down. Sean McDermott with the 13-second bullshit, and it's time to move on. I don't like his attitude. He's kind of gruff, and I get it. It fits the city of Buffalo. But, man, last night, I just kind of came away going, I'm not it. It's time to go, McDermott. Time to go. Got to go. You've had your run. You've gotten there, but you have Josh fucking Allen, and you can't even get to the Super Bowl? I don't know. You had that game 2 years ago at home, and you pissed that down your leg. So, what an absolute barn burner type of game last night. Felt like an arena football game. But my takeaways are Ravens, deja vu, but they're going to be okay. They're going to win that division. I have a gut feeling they will. And the Bills, still very good, but it has LeBron James feel to it where he's got to put up 42 in a triple-double just to beat good teams. So that's my only concern. They're just becoming so Josh Allen reliant, it's kind of annoying. Okay, two other games I want to touch on. So, Lions-Packers. First game for Micah Parsons in his Packers debut was as good as advertised. I was looking forward to it because Mike Kesnick, as well as you know, you're the biggest Lions fan I know. Love you, bro. I was really looking forward to this because the Lions lost both their coordinators. Okay? Lost Ben Johnson, lost Aaron Glenn. I want to see how they react. And then I want to see the O-line because they kind of had some reshuffling, right? Frank Ragnow retired, the center. And man, was that a difference yesterday. I watched most of that game, then I passed out, I fell asleep. And I woke up, the game was over, took a nap for like 20 minutes, and I ended up waking up. Excuse me. But I will say this. Them losing Frank Ragnow was huge. I mean, they just couldn't run the ball yesterday. And credit to Green Bay, they were aggressive, they were attacking, they just got after Goff, which, here's the thing with Goff. He's like Michael Penix a little bit, or Tua. You get him uncomfortable, then your game. Because then you can kind of speed the game up for him. And you do this with a lot of quarterbacks. But Goff's, in that group. And I like Goff. I've defended him more than most. But my point is, yesterday, the difference in the defenses, listen, Detroit's defense is good. They got players. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson came back. It was nice to see him back on the field yesterday after that great start he had last year, and they got hurt, and it just was unfortunate. I am pulling for him. And I still, I still am rooting for the Lions. Derek Solomon, Mike, you guys, I love you. You guys are big Lion fans. I'm a Packer fan at heart. But I remember asking Mike a couple summers ago, I said, I think it was after they beat the Cowboys in Dallas, and he said, that's his team that scares me. And I do think you could split that game, down the middle. And I think Green Bay kind of needed to get a win against the Lions just because they've lost the last couple, I think last 7. So it kind of felt like Chiefs against Chargers, like Chiefs have just dominated lately, and the Packers just kind of needed to get a dub to get that monkey off their back of kind of struggling against their division rival. But the Lions' offensive line's got to get better. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I was thinking about tonight, too, they ran the ball so well with Ragnow behind him. And Penei Sewell, listen, he's an all-pro. He's one of the best players at his position in the league. Probably one of the best tackles, maybe in my life. He's got a chance to be one of those. But he got work yesterday. And Micah Parsons is no easy matchup. I think Micah getting out of Dallas to kind of be in a quieter, better environment in Green Bay fits. And I am so happy Green Bay, and I've been banging on this for years, they don't take big swings. You've had Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, 30 years, you got 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Inexcusable. But they did something that I'm like, okay, the urgency now is, let's go. We've kind of been okay. We've been competitive, and we're a big brand. I get it. But let's pick up the pace a little bit. It's time for CCM, chop, motherfucker. Gotta go, And I felt like yesterday, and listen, Jordan Love is just filthy good. When he's on, watch out. And they got all those toys on the outside. Matthew Golden making plays. Tucker Kraft's a Pro Bowl stud, badass dude. Musgrave. Josh Jacobs is a bowling ball running back. Your offensive line's solid. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Packers offensive line in my life. Aaron Rodgers left that offensive line for that. Okay. But be that as it may, I will say this. That was impressive yesterday by the Packers. I'm not going to say they're the best team in the NFC. They're impressive. Their roster looks really good now with Micah Parsons. Now it's just, okay, get Jordan Love to play at a decent level, play calm, play control. Now he's going to throw picks. I'm okay with that. I said this a couple years ago. He threw 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. I don't care. Okay? Stafford threw 16 one year. How many touchdowns? 41? I'll take it. Okay? Some of the picks are bad. Some of them are ducks. Whatever. Okay? But he's more Favre than Rodgers in terms of efficiency. But if he can play within himself and occasionally make a crazy, oh my God, play, then I'm all in. So just to recap, Lions, they're going to be okay. A little alarming for me with just the game. And just kind of didn't look right offensive line-wise. Look at that figured out. I think it's going to be neck and neck, and Lions-Packers win the division. My guess is probably Green Bay wins it, but I would not be shocked if Detroit, because I still think Detroit's roster is just a little bit better than Green Bay, but not by much. So that was a very black and blue kind of Green Bay-Detroit game, and the NFC North is that. I'm recording this as I'm going to be watching the Bears game after I get off with you guys, so I will give you guys my reaction stat tomorrow. And last but not least, So I kind of caught glimpses of the Buccaneer Falcon game, excuse me, and it was funny. So I'm stretching there, excuse me. Is that I was reading some Facebook posts as I was getting on here. They said it was like 2001 all over again. The Falcons have a quarterback named Michael, Penix and Vic, and they're both left-handed. So, I will say this: Michael Penix looked really good yesterday, 27-42. Had a touchdown, had a running touchdown, which I didn't think he was capable of at Washington. He was just pocket. Well, he can move, and maybe those injuries, he's kind of got his feet back, and who knows. But I will say this with Atlanta, I'm more worried about him, not necessarily Michael Penix. I think that he's going to be a good pro. He's kind of a bigger version of Tua. Could sit in that pocket, throw darts. I've said this before, one of the best live throwers of the football I've ever seen. He just, to me, when I watch the ball come off the hand at the combine, I say this all the time, badass, awesome, and I loved it. I'm worried more so about his organization letting him down than I think him, because I think Atlanta's still weird. I don't know. Arthur Blank's in the Ring of Honor. He's already 81. He's nearing the end. I don't know what to do with Raheem. I like him, but his defense, he's a defensive guy, and it's kind of wishy-washy. So I don't know what to make of Atlanta. I will say this. They've got players, and they got dudes on offense that can make plays. They could be a great show on turf type offense because the way that Michael Penix can kind of distribute the football. So to recap that, I will say I think Atlanta's going to be competitive this year. I think it's going to be them and the Buccaneers to win that division. Maybe Carolina can make a run at it. I'm still holding hope for Bryce Young. I know he had a stinker yesterday. But I think with Dave Canales and him, I think Atlanta could kind of get the pieces going on offense. And I think they could probably win that division with Tampa to compete with it. I don't know if they will. I'm already counting the Saints out. They're bad. Put them in the draft. Send it to next season, okay? They're shitty. And I want to start with Tampa Bay because I talked about Atlanta. But, there's one guy that I love, and he got me feeling nicey yesterday. And it was my doppelganger. It was Baker, the moneymaker, Mayfield, and he balled out yesterday. Game-winning touchdown throw to Amuka Ibuka. Let's go. I mean, that guy is a stud. They got a steal, man. They got him in the 20s. I'm like, whoa. And Tampa Bay got him, stole him, and he balled out yesterday. 4 for 76. 2 tutties, not 1, but 2. Ding. He balled out yesterday. And Baker just, man, I love guys that play the position that just have a little bit of edge and a little bit of flair and a little bit of just something, a swagger to him, that Buccaneer swagger. And Baker Mayfield has that. I'm a big fan of his. He's my doppelganger. But this guy makes me love football. He has dominated in Tampa. And I will say this, he found his home. I thought Cleveland was his home. This place is home. And they have done a remarkable job at, it was funny, like a couple years ago, okay, what are they going to do? Oh, my God, they lost Tom Brady. Who are they going to get a quarterback? Well, they got Baker. We don't know. And then he's picked up right where he left off. So he's just been awesome. 90 touchdowns the last 2 years. Been very productive. They have a great running game with Bucky Irving and those guys. Their offensive line's solid. They give Baker time. And their weapons are just awesome. Chris Godwin's hanging on, but you have him, Mike Evans, and now Ibuka. Pick your poison, man. So, and their defense is solid. They make plays everywhere. Got a little bit gassed yesterday in the run game. But I will say this. I'm bought in on Tampa. I think they're in that mix in the NFC. Because I think they're going to win the division again. I did say Atlanta could maybe make a run, but Tampa's just better right now. They know what they're doing. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I got tonight. I know it was fun-filled, action-packed. But, man, football is finally back. It's got me feeling nicey. Hope you guys are doing well. Manic Monday. I'm getting ready to go watch this Bears-Vikings game. We'll give you guys reactions tomorrow. Stay tuned. Football's back and content's back. Adios. Godspeed.